Hello and welcome to this session, the last in the series of the lesson 15 in the textbook of BA, BSc, and BCom final year students, The Mouse and the Snake. In this lecture, I shall try to explain the grammar portion, that is, question tag. This presentation contains two parts. First is understanding the question tags, and the second part is exercises from the 15th lesson, the mouse and the snake. So let us first understand what a question tag is. Question tags are short questions at the end of statements. They are mainly used in speech when we want to confirm that something is true or not, or to encourage a reply from the person we are speaking to. So they are more common in speaking than in writing. And we often use question tags when we expect the listener to agree with our statement. We can add question tags like isn't it, can you, or didn't they to a statement to make it into a question. So when we look at the formation of question tags or how we make them, when the statement is positive, we use a negative question tag. For example, she is a doctor, isn't she? Yesterday was so much fun, wasn't it? And if the statement is negative, we use a positive question tag. He isn't here. Is he? They are never on time, are they? So question tags, as we see, are formed with the auxiliary or modal verb from the statement and the appropriate subject pronoun. For example, I, you, he, or she, etc. And as you know, auxiliary verbs or helping verbs are am, is, are, was, were, has, have, had, etc. And modal verbs are can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would, etc. So we form the question tag with the help of auxiliaries or modal verbs. So if we look at formation of question tags with auxiliary verbs, we find that if there is an auxiliary verb in the statement, then we use the same auxiliary verb to form the question tag. For example, I don't need to finish this today. Now we find that in this sentence, there is an auxiliary verb do, and this sentence is a negative sentence. So we make the question tag positive. Do I? James is working on that. So the auxiliary verb here is is. So the question is, the statement is positive. So the question tag will be negative. Isn't he? Here we have used he, the subject pronoun, because the subject James is there. So in place of the name, we have used the pronoun he. Likewise, your parents have retired, haven't they? The phone didn't ring, did it? It was raining that day, wasn't it? So some question tags are formed without the auxiliary verbs, means sometimes there is no auxiliary verb present in the statement. Then if the verb in the statement is present simple or past simple and is positive, we use don't, doesn't, or didn't. That is negatives. For example, she eats cheese. Doesn't she? I said that already. Didn't I? So the first sentence is in simple present and the second one is in simple past. So if the verb in the statement is present simple or past simple, and if the sentence is negative, then we need to use do, does, or did. That is, when we have to make the question tag positive, then how can we do it? She never eats cheese. Does she? He never complained. Did he? So, when we pay attention to the verb and the kind of statement that is positive or negative, then we can make a question tag without the auxiliary verbs already present in the statement, but we have to use do, does, or did, or don't, doesn't, or didn't. So, some sentences are there where we find that it does not contain an auxiliary verb or modal, but it contains a word with a negative meaning. So, the words with negative meaning are like hardly or rarely. So, in that case, the question tag should be positive. For example, he hardly ever speaks. Does he? They rarely eat in restaurant. Do they? Some verbs or expressions have different question tags. It means they are different from the auxiliaries used. For example, the auxiliary am, the use of auxiliary am is there in the sentence I am attractive. The question tag is aren't I? The positive imperative sentence stop daydreaming does not have any auxiliary, and in this case we shall use the auxiliary will not, that is won't you. The negative imperative sentence don't stop singing. The question tag shall be will you. If the sentence has let us, then for example, if the sentence is let's go to the beach, then the question tag shall be shall we. So we use shall or shan't in case of use of let's in the sentence. So now we are going to solve the exercises from this lesson 15, the mouse and the snake. All of you have heard about Ujjain, haven't you? Vikramaditya was a great king and judge, wasn't he? You are a very due person, aren't you? You should not have been such a great fool, should you? He hates her like poison, doesn't he? You have heard about them, haven't you? Come and see me tomorrow, won't you? We rarely go to movies on Sundays, do we? So we find that the auxiliaries have been printed in red, and accordingly, if the statement is positive, then the question tag is negative, and if the statement is negative, then the question tag is positive. So these are some resources which have been consulted while making this presentation. If you want, you may also try to access them and get some more information about question tags. I hope you have learned something new today. Thank you very much.